Hey Karen, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm so good. It's so good to be talking to you. Where you tell us where you're calling from.
Yeah, I'm calling from Smith Rock State Park. Yeah, I just moved into my van like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, this is my
Yes.
home and this is also
So
my bed. So welcome.
I love that. I love that because there's like van life is like quite a sub community in our community. There's a lot of people looking to move into vans and RVs and stuff like that. So it's your first 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, we just officially finished our build like a week and a half ago. We've gone on some like smaller trips like while it was getting done, but we just moved in full time like last week. So yeah,
And how is van life?
it's good. It's good so far. Yeah.
You loving it?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, there's like challenges, right? Like with everything, but yeah,
Hmm.
it's been pretty good. I like it. Yeah, I put a lot of work into designing the office space and like making it good for me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so are you guys planning to like stay in a few places for longer periods of time or move around quite a bit, or what's kind of the plan?
Yeah, in general, we'll probably be in places for like a month or so at a time, but this fall, my husband's a climbing photographer, so we're actually following like a climbing photography or not a climbing photography circuit, but just a climbing like festival circuit. So we're moving around like a lot this fall, but in
That
general, it'll be slower.
that is amazing. I know. I feel like of all the seasons to be doing van life, fall would definitely be my favorite. It's
Yeah,
like it's just the best. So
yeah.
where are some of the highlights of where you're going? Like what's are one of the top two highlights?
Yeah. In a few weeks we're gonna be in like the Moab area, which I just love so much. Like it's my favorite place to climb personally. So really excited for that. And we've got a bunch of friends in the area that we're gonna meet up with. And then in November we're gonna be in Bishop, California, which
Yep.
I've never
I
been
know
to,
Bishop.
and I'm so
It's
excited
so
to look
good.
forward
Bishop's
to this.
so
Yeah.
good. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, two of my favorite places. That's gonna be so fun. So are you a big climber too?
Yeah, yeah, I am.
So just adventuring all around. Do you guys mostly climb or do you have any other sports you like doing?
I've been doing a lot of trail running recently, actually. I made a goal to run 50 miles this year, which was like kind of ridiculous because I've never run more than like 20, and that was last year as my first time. So I was like training all summer for that. And that just took up like any of my free time. So now that's
Good.
over and I'm finally getting back to climbing.
Yeah, that's so fun too, though. Trail running's like the only kind of running I like to do, to be honest.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I used to hate running when I was a kid and like in high school and stuff because I was like, we're just running on a track like this. I hate it.
yeah, yeah, seriously. I don't know how people do track. I don't understand. I guess they're shorter races, but like, man, running in the woods, there's like nothing better. And Moab too. That's like
Mhm.
a great place to go running. That'll be so fun. I have a little bit of FOMO. I'm like, wait, I want to
Come
go.
join.
Yeah, like do you have any space in your van?
There's a floor space. You could put a
I-
sleeping
I'm
bag.
so down. Put me in a sleeping bag on the floor. I will be so content. My sport was mountain biking.
Oh,
So lots of mountain biking in Moab and things like that. And I'm not really mountain biking much these days, but it's where my heart really is. So
yeah.
that's yeah. Well, cool. Well, why? I mean, I could literally talk to you about traveling and living out of your van. Why don't we also talk about copywriting? So I don't know, just kind of maybe take us through the story, your story, like where you were before you started copywriting, and then up to now where you're able to kind of take work with you, literally on the road.
Totally. Yeah. So before I was copywriting, I had like just graduated from college and I was working for a really small nonprofit organization that was focused on like outdoor education. Um, which I loved. Like I went to school for writing, so I didn't really have a reason for doing that. It was just like fun. But it was really hard work and I was making, like zero money basically, like just hardcore dirtbagging. And then COVID hit and obviously that was all in person and that went on the wayside and I lost my job. Uh,
Mm,
and I had been kind of looking for a switch before that. So in a lot of ways, I was kind of lucky that I had this like, okay, well, you have to make a decision. So yeah, Emily, totally like super similar. Um, so yeah, like I feel like this happened to a lot of people, and it was kind of like serendipitous in a lot of ways. I was like, okay, well, I have to stay home so like I can study. Great. And I found your course, and I'm like a total nerd, so I just love to like, I want someone to tell me like, okay, like study these things and like do this. So that worked really well for me. Yeah, so I was just kind of like studying the course and the material, I think until like August probably of 2020. I started sending out cold emails, which was definitely like challenging. You know, I feel like everyone has that feeling when they first start, like literally, what am I doing? Like I
Yeah.
have no clue what's going on. And then, yeah, I distinctly remember like the first cold email that I got a response from. I was sitting in this little coffee shop in Laramie, Wyoming, which is like next to a cool climbing area. You know, I had like no money. And they're like, yeah, like we want to chat with you. And I was just like, oh my God, like cool. Also, what do I do? And actually the first person that responded to my cold email is like one of my top clients today. I've been working with them ever since.
What? So for like 2 years now, you guys have been
Yeah,
working
yeah.
together? That is
Almost three.
amazing.
Yeah.
Almost 3. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So we just like connected really well. And the thing that they were like, we never respond to these things, but because of your cold email, like we're responding. So I think that just speaks to like the way your course like set people up for success for sure. Um,
I love hearing that. It never gets old. I can't lie.
Totally
Yeah, I
right.
get cold emails all the time now. I don't know if you've reached that point in your business where you get cold emails all the time, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I got some tips for you, bud. Here's my YouTube video. No, I'm kidding.
I feel the same way. I'm like, okay, this ended up in my spam for a reason. Like, this is so bad, guys. Come on.
You got this. You got this.
It's crazy. Yeah. Sometimes that client, he'll like send me cold emails that other people have sent, and he'll just be like, look, this is so bad. Like, this is why we picked you. I'm like, wow, thanks. It's kind of like an inside joke that we have now.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So yeah, that happened. And then I, you know, slowly started getting some more responses and did some trial projects, had some clients that just like weren't really a perfect fit. Honestly, like more so for me than for them. And then yeah, I just kind of like hit my spot. You know, it was definitely like still challenging. I was working guiding on the side a little bit to help out. My husband is
Climbing guiding.
snowshoe guiding actually.
Oh my gosh, you are awesome.
It was really cold. Like honestly, I kind of hated it. So that was one of the best feelings when I realized like I do not need to wake up at 5 a.m. anymore to like do this guiding. Like I can just wake up when I want to and like write things that I care about. So that was like a huge thing for me, was realizing like I don't have to do that anymore. Yeah. So yeah, my husband at the time, he was my boyfriend. He's from Chile, so he was kind of going through the immigration process, and he wasn't able to work at all for the first like 2 years.
Oh man,
That I switched to
yeah.
copywriting. So it was super challenging because I was like 100% the person making all the money for our relationship. So that like turned things up a notch for me. And like, you know, you have to like get it together basically. But I was able to do that. And in May of 2021, my first client emailed me and said like, hey, we want you to take over all of our content marketing. Basically, like we want you to do email for us. Like we want you to plan all of our content. So like that was the moment that I was like, okay, like I'm making good money. Like that was huge for me. Yeah. And then ever since then, it's been like, you know, I've had several retainer clients that I've been working with really consistently. And I've had the ability to do like kind of one-off projects that I really care about when I want to. But I, you know, basically in my mind, I guess I basically am at a point where like I'm having like very consistent, almost like a salary every month because I've had these clients for a really long time.
Yes, it's such a good feeling. Such a good feeling to like move into that place of like consistency and just like relying on it, like knowing Like everything's going to be okay. Because the first few months you're like, is this a fluke? You know, wait,
Totally.
how is this happening? How are people paying me for writing? Like, it's just it's such a funny like transition.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, and then yeah, now here we are. Yeah,
Yes.
things have been going
Oh,
exponentially, and also like I slowed down a little bit as well. Like I was kind of overworking myself, which I feel like is a super real thing, especially when you're
yes.
like really type A, which I am. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it can be hard because especially once I don't know that happened to me too, right? Where like when you're your own boss, you're like, this is amazing, and then you kind of cross over into like, oh, now I'm like working more than like what I would at a full-time job.
yeah,
And it's cool because at least you're like able to earn more, right? It's not like you're working more and like capped at whatever like your hourly pay is or your salary pay is. But yeah, that's like totally a thing. When did that happen for you? Like how far into it?
let's see. I feel like last fall was when that like totally hit me. I was like, whoa, like I'm making really good money every month, but this is like bad for my mental, physical health. Like I have to work out every day, like, or else I will go crazy. And
Yeah.
I'm having like, I don't have the time to do that. So over the winter, it kind of like, I was like, okay, I need to slow down. And then, finally kind of feel like I got back to a space that's like reasonable for me personally, so.
Yeah, and it sounds like adventuring is a big part of maybe why you did this. I don't know. Like,
Really. Mhm.
yeah. So I mean, it is for me too. So anytime I get into that place, I just remind myself it's like, okay, this is a chance to course correct, to get back to like my why, especially, I don't know, it's been like 9 years for me now. So like there have been quite a few times I've veered off into like 40-hour plus land. And I just have to be like, no, 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 no. Like I started this to like not do that. So I don't know if that probably resonates with you maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's walk through because some of the timeline, because you sent me like a little bit of your highlights. So you 6 months in to your work, you doubled what you were doing at your job, like last job. How did
Yeah.
that feel? That's
It was
incredible.
great. Yeah, I was like, now like looking back, like I feel like now I'm at the point where I'm like used to like actually having money, right? But like at that point I was like, oh my God, like I can go out to eat. Like at that point that was a huge thing for me because like I had just graduated from college and like
Mhm.
I'm used to making literally $13 an hour. Like, that's what I was making in my old job. So yeah, like I was like, I can go out to eat. Like I can like when this was actually this year, but yeah, I like my I beat my like 6 month goal at like I don't know in like March or something this year. So I bought myself like a really nice ring and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, wow. So now I have this ring that I always wear. I'm like, oh yeah, like cool.
Hey, that's so funny. I
So
have a ring that was like a business win ring too, and I like still
oh,
wear
I
it
love
like a year, and I'm like, I remember you. You were very special when I got you.
that. Yeah, right?
Wow.
Totally.
Yeah, that's so funny. No, I mean, I remember that so vividly. I often joke about how I remember, like the avocado upcharge on like sandwiches and stuff. I was like, yeah, you can put that avocado on there. Like, I can afford that now. What a life, And it's just like
Yeah.
it's so important to remember those little things that happen where you can like afford to go out to eat and not be super stressed
Mhm.
because they're huge. And then when you go past them, you like forget that you're like living the life that you really
Yeah.
were trying to create for yourself, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I was looking at like an old budget that I had like right when I was working my old job and it was like I don't know, I don't even know how I lived off of what I lived off of. Like it was insane. I'm like, how is this possible?
I
Like
feel the
yeah.
same way. I'm like, how how did I
Yeah.
make that work?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So what are you doing now? Or like what does life kind of typically look like? Like how many hours are you working? Like what are you earning per month? And then also what niche are you in? Like let's talk about that too.
Totally. Yeah. So when I started out copywriting, I was kind of focused on the outdoor industry, obviously, because that's like a passion of mine.
Mhm.
But I just quickly realized like the outdoor industry, for me at least, is like a little bit weird because I was in Colorado and it's like a lot of like, who do you know? And like just like kind of like a I don't know,
Oh,
popularity contest, which I'm not interested in at all. So I kind of quickly switched over to sustainability, which is something that I just like really care about. And yeah, like I'll say like back to the outdoor industry thing, like I think that was pretty specific to like my experience because my husband and I are like very involved in the community. So I'm sure it's different for a lot of different copywriters, but yeah,
Mhm.
that's just kind of what I dealt with. So yeah, I've been working in sustainability for yeah, pretty much the whole time I switched, you know, like I think a month and a half, 2 months into this.
Okay. So pretty much the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's been huge for me because that's something that I'm just like really passionate about and super, you know, like I just believe that if I'm working a job, I need to like make the world a better place, and that's always been a goal of mine
Mm-hmm.
as like a kid. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so now it varies a little bit. Like my baseline, like I again like made a conscious choice. Like back this fall and winter, I was making, you know, like 7 to 10,000 a month, which was like not sustainable for me. Like it was great. I was like, cool, I'm making all this money, but like I cannot do
Yeah,
this
I didn't want that.
sustainably. And I just like wasn't ready to raise my prices
Mm-hmm.
again, which is like a personal thing. Like I could totally raise my prices. I just
Sounds like it.
haven't wanted to do it.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, Karen, raise your prices.
I'm
So
like, you're
yeah,
right there.
yeah. So I
I mean,
definitely
if you're that you're that packed with work and people are like, it's like, I mean, there's obviously a threshold, but it sounds like there's room for pushing a little bit. Anyway, sorry, I can't help but coach sometimes. I'm like,
no,
that's a good story.
no, I know I need to. I've had like this one email and draft for like 2 weeks to some of my clients, like, hey, like I'm raising my prices, blah blah. So I just need to send it.
Also, even a good time to do it, like, is at the end of the year. Be like, going into 2023, here we go. This is our
Yeah,
new prices. This is what we do.
definitely.
Anyway, sorry. Back to
Yeah, so now it definitely like changes a little bit. My baseline with my two main clients is like 4,000 a month.
Mhm,
And then I just leave room like depending on what I'm comfortable with and like what I'm doing that month. Like I'll usually leave room for like other one-off projects.
mhm.
So like this month I had an opportunity to like do some outdoor modeling and like food styling, which is like not related to copywriting at
Mhm,
all. It was just like through my husband. And I was
mhm.
like, why do you guys want me to be a model? But like whatever, cool. So that was really fun because my other passion is like food and outdoor cooking.
Oh,
So it kind of
awesome.
gives me room to like do those other things, and then you know I'll have old clients reach out and ask for projects. I'm not really in a space where I'm cold emailing too much anymore, just because I'm not
Yeah,
trying to like
you're good. You're
yeah
like in that spot where it's like people are probably passing your name around and like we are getting referrals and that's
yeah
where you want to be.
yeah totally
But you also know what to do if you like want to ramp up work for some reason,
yeah
which also feels good too. So
definitely
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I guess like the hours I work each week definitely depend, but like I don't know, it's probably like 25 to 30 hours at the most.
Nice.
And most of that's usually like I'm not focusing as much as I could be. Like realistically, I could probably get all my work done in, you know, like 2 days. Um, sometimes I'm just like doing other things.
I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah,
Well, because you're like, wow, I'm in a gorgeous state park. Like, gotta
yeah,
go. I don't know.
totally.
Oh man. So what are you like most excited about for like the future of your work and the life that you're building? Cause like you're newly on the road. Like, yeah.
It's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. I've been talking about the possibility of kind of creating like more of a production company with my husband that kind of builds like copywriting and like story writing and you know general
Ooh.
content creation with like video and photo, and kind of like offering
Ooh.
that as a bigger kind of you know like bucket deal for people. So that's something that we're kind of discussing and thinking about. It is hard to work with your partner, so we'll see. Because we've done a lot of projects together. So there's like pros and cons with all of that for sure.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, but that would be so cool. And like what you guys each do really does complement
Hmm.
each other and could totally be like bundled into, like an agency that helps with, I don't know, content and social and all their marketing materials, really.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
especially now with all the just like newer, smaller e-commerce businesses and things like that. You know, like somebody will come up with like a cool product and then it like blows up, like that hammock. What's that camping hammock, emu or whatever? I remember when it was like first came out, and now it's like a mass. It's just like a hammock.
Yeah.
And now it's like the hammock, right? In like the outdoor space. And because I lived in Asheville, North Carolina for a while. So there's a lot of like outdoor brands and stuff like there that kind of get their start in the woods. So yeah, that would be super cool.
Yeah.
You think that's gonna come to life?
I don't know. We'll see. We have he's doing a film this winter in Patagonia. So we're gonna be in Chile for 3 months. And I'm helping him like produce and direct that. So that's kind of like our first step. And I'll be helping him like do blog posts because like English is the second language. So like naturally I'm like kind of roped into like helping him with that work. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna charge you for it then, obviously.
Yes, I freaking
So,
love that.
yeah, I'm like, I love you so much, but like this is also my time. So like, yeah.
I love it.
Like that's important, especially like
I
as a woman,
agree.
you know, like people just kind of, it's
Yeah.
common for women to do like work for their husbands or other men and like
Yeah.
get paid.
And not get
So,
paid. No, I like freaking love that so much. That's
yeah.
amazing.
So that'll be our first test, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. But
I just like love the life you're living. It's so fun. It's
it
so
is.
fun and like reminds me of, I don't know, this is like, I just was mountain biking all the time in my early 20s. That's it. Traveling. Where in Patagonia?
We're gonna be in Torres del Paine, which is kind of like the Chilean side of Patagonia.
Okay. And is it pretty far south or?
Yeah, super south.
Yeah, because I did a trip, it was like a month and a half of like mountaineering outside of Pucón. I don't know if you know where that is. Oh, it looks like you froze. Whoop. Got a little freeze. I'm gonna pause it. Record. I was asking you if you knew where Pucón was, if that was close to where you were.
Yeah, no, totally. We spent a bunch of time there a couple years ago.
Oh,
And
really? That's
yeah,
amazing.
I love it.
I hiked Lanín. I don't know if you know that mountain, Lanín and Villarrica. This is very, very highlight of the life for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, I love Patagonia. Okay, I need to stop getting like sidetracked by like all the adventure things I want to talk to you about. Okay. I love to kind of wrap. Well, first, if there's anything else you'd like to add, or if anyone wants to ask questions, please do. But if there's anything that you'd like to add, definitely jump in there. But I'd love to hear from you, kind of like if you could go talk to yourself, like right when you got laid off at the beginning of COVID, and we're like, oh no, what do I do now? And you could like tell yourself something, what would it be?
Oh, that's good. I was trying to think of that because I was like, I feel like she's gonna ask a question like that, and then I didn't come up with anything totally great. But
it doesn't even have to be complicated. It's just like knowing what you know now, like what would you tell your like self 2 years ago?
I think just like don't like freeze. Like I definitely got to this point where I was just like frozen. I was like, I don't know what to do. And like I feel like there's like not opportunities for me, you know, it's just like really, I don't know, there's so many, like there's at this point, like there's so many opportunities that I hadn't even thought of. And obviously that's easy to say when like you've been through all the things and you're like at the end. But I think even like at the beginning, like just like knowing, like just like start, like just like do the thing. You know, like just you have to try at least, like you have to at least like try and like get going. Because I think I definitely like was frozen for like so many ways, and it's like, okay, I could have taken the course sooner, started cold emailing sooner, and like, you know, it's fine, like I'm here now. But there was several months where I was like super struggling, you know, like in every way. So that could have been avoided by just like starting a little bit sooner.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you were just like the thing that was like making you freeze was, I don't know, just like fear and the things you were worried about? Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's like,
I think for me, like a big thing is like just like being afraid of like not knowing something, you know, or like being afraid of like looking dumb. And I think that's like, yeah, for me, like that's just a huge thing I struggle with. So just like kind of getting past that, I mean, like it's okay, like, you know, not knowing something is an opportunity to learn something new. It's not like you're not dumb, you just like don't know the thing yet. And you can totally learn the thing. So
Yes, I love that. It's just not knowing a thing yet, and you can totally learn the thing. It's so true. And now, and then you get to a place where you've been doing it for so long, and somebody will hop on the phone, like I'll have a client and they'll like drop some like buzzword and be like, "Do you have the bandwidth of the blah blah blah?" And I'm just like, sir, I don't know what that is." Like, whereas like newbie me would have been like, "Oh, I don't know what that is," and like Googling it, like, frantically, like trying to pretend like I'm not Googling it. Now,
oh yeah, definitely.
to a place where you're like,
lingo so I can look like I know what I'm talking about. For sure.
and it's just like, I don't know. And also over the time you realize like lingo changes and like technology changes and all the things like there's, I don't know, they'll be like, oh, do you know this person or do you use this like program and piece of tech? And I'm just like, no, I don't know what any of that is.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know, the world of digital marketing is so big and is growing and changing, and it's okay to not know things. So I love that you said that. I think that's super important.
Yeah, and also like there's a lot to be said for like the baseline skills that we learn. Like I actually had one of my initial test project clients that didn't work out, and they're like, okay, like I was like, yeah, I don't think it's really working out. And they like felt similarly, and they went on to like work with like a big SEO agency, and 3 months later they emailed me and said, hey, we really want to work with you again. Like we like miss your voice. And I'm like, sorry, I'm booked up. Like I don't want to work with them anymore because they were kind of a total pain in the butt. But you know, like there's a lot to be said for like there's a lot of people that are in the field. Like I personally get super, super intimidated with like the SEO side of things. Like that's not my strong point. And like I'm upfront with that with my clients. I'm like, I am a writer. I would tell like a story and like speak to that side of things. And like I might not have the best keyword ever for you, like all these things, like but if you go with a big SEO agency, they're not gonna care about your
They
business.
literally just like crunch numbers, and honestly they come up with the same stuff that I teach you in the course, because I work with clients who pay SEO agencies, and I do the same keyword research that is literally in Write Your Way to Freedom, and we come up with the same answers, and they'll be paying them like $3,000 a month, and I'm always like, I don't want to tell you how to spend your money, but why are you just, because all they do is generate keywords to like use and go after, and I'm like, okay. Although it sometimes makes my life easier because sometimes they just like give me keywords. I'm like, yeah, I guess I won't.
Totally. I have a client like that. I'm like, cool, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, like,
you're gonna
great.
pay me the same and I'm gonna do less work.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, and all clients are different, you know, like some are gonna like want their hands in it more, some are gonna give you topics, some are gonna be like, I don't know, you tell me what to write. And it's just like, I don't know. For me, it's great because it keeps my attention, the variety and the differences. So
Definitely.
Well, it's so great talking with you. I don't know if you're like in the RV van life group in the community, but
No, I need to join.
we just created that, I think like a month ago. So it's there because there's definitely a whole crew of you guys.
And I would assume so, right?
Yeah, totally. Well, it's great speaking with you, and thank you so much for sharing your story. I know it's going to resonate with a lot of the adventurers in the group. So appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks guys for being here. Bye.
Yes, everybody. Bye.